If people don't know what that is, the best way to describe it is an OnlyFans for like music.
Hey guys, Edward Jacob here. We're with Alex Nepa. Yeah, so let's just talk about your company.
Absolutely. Company name is Mint DJ and Event Group. We just celebrated our 10 year this year. I think just like Corey and Mindy from Flair Country, we started in April of 2015 and been going strong ever since.
That's exciting, man. So, you've been doing it for 10 years. That's a long time. Yeah. You've probably seen a lot. Yeah. Let's start with your booking process. Let's start with that. So what does that look like for a couple?
I guess I should start. I've been way longer than 10 years, but
okay.
We don't need to go that deep.
Yeah.
It's been as a company, as a formal company, we've been 10 years.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So our booking process, basically from sales to event.
Yeah, what's it look like for a client?
So typically for a wedding, we'll just go with that example.
Yeah.
They'll book 10 to 15 months out, and we kind of start with giving them access to an online planner. They can start kind of mapping out the timeline and music choices for their wedding. And as things get closer, we'll talk 90 days out, we'll talk 3 weeks out, and just kind of get a general gist of kind of the music they love, more importantly, the music they hate, the vibe they're going for, the layout of the room and everything like that, and kind of the flow of events.
Cool. So I know DJs all do it different, but do you have them choose the music? Do you choose the music? Do you do both? Is there one you prefer?
I like a good middle ground. I'm a big fan of a do not playlist. I'm not a super cheesy guy, so you're not going to hear the chicken dance with me or the super obnoxious songs that are just like so cliched, things like that. But I do like to know what music they absolutely hate.
Of course.
Just because I intrinsically don't know that. As far as must plays, I think like a dozen to like 20 absolute musts are cool to hear. I have a lot of couples that actually, we've got an online planner where they can pick out music, and they can pick out as much or as little as they want. But a lot of couples now will just kind of compile a giant like Spotify playlist and almost use that as like a Pinterest mood board for music.
Okay, yeah.
So like, hey, this is kind of the vibe we're going for. We don't expect you to play every song, but kind of like, this is what we like. And I like that kind of thing.
So what's that online planner look like? That's interesting.
So we use, for the wedding pros that are listening, if there's any out there, we use Dubsado as our CRM, which is our client relationship manager. And that actually has forms built into the back end. We've customized a lot of that. So there's like a timeline form that we have that's super easy. It's just, timestamps for like an event, like the order of events at weddings. And the timestamps are always like nudge points. They're never exactly on point. And then we've got a music portal, which is kind of like your must plays and do not plays. We've got a ton of blog posts with suggestions too, and that's kind of built into the back end as well.
That's cool. So when does that send out?
Automatically, as soon as they sign a contract and pay their deposit.
Contract.
Yep.
Okay. So when do you want that done by? Like when are you looking to have like I'm sure you have deadlines and things like that you're looking for. So how's that look?
So I always tell my clients, I'm like, if you log into this online planner, and weddings, as you know, are a ton of work for couples, especially planning an event for the first time. And we do so many events a year, not just weddings, but corporates and nightlife and bars and things like that. So I tell my clients, if you book and you log into this online planner and it feels like cumbersome, it feels like work, we can chat it out. I've got ways to kind of talk through things online and make sure that flows nicely. But yeah, I mean, realistically about a month out is if they do want to fill out those forms, about a month out.
Cool. So we're talking about music. Let's talk about everything. I mean, it's not just being like music. There's a lot more that goes into being a DJ for a wedding. So let's talk about that. What else do you offer? What else do you guys do?
That's a great question. Especially there's me, the leader of the team, the owner of the company. I obviously know what I'm doing, and I'm in a different price tier. But I do have guys that are at the Simply Mint price tier, which is kind of like the starting rates and things like that. So a lot of them, I hire good DJs, guys that have the fundamental of DJing. They can kind of walk into a party, crush it, everybody's gonna love it. But weddings are a lot different, where there's like formalities. There's a lot of waiting until the party. And the formal pieces you definitely need to know. You need to be confident on a microphone. You need to know how to speak. You need to know how to work with other professionals and, learn how to deal with families,
Yeah.
parents, things like that. So yeah, that's a training process, and those are kind of like the event pieces. But then before the wedding, there's a ton of prep too. There's the calls that we talked about, like going over all the planning pieces. There's kind of finding out where they met, where they hung out. I know we're in Johnstown here, so this isn't the example. We do a lot of weddings in State College, which is where we're located. A lot of Penn State alumni weddings. So one of the questions I ask in our planning calls is like, where'd you hang out when you were students? Because there are alumni that are coming back where they met. And that will play a piece in music planning as well.
Nice. So you touched on that. What else do you offer in the sense of like lighting and like, I know last time I thought it was a fog machine that you had, but it was really
it's a hazer,
haze machine.
So the
lights,
hazers,
things like that. Yeah.
So there's definitely elevated lighting, nightclub style or intelligent style lighting, the kinds that you see at concerts or on TV shows, and we offer all of that. Realistically, we can pretty much do anything. I tell couples the only thing that will limit what we can do are your imagination and your budgets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like lighting upgrades are obviously super popular. Photo booths are super popular. But obviously ceremony sound and microphones for that portion of the wedding as well.
Cool. What about, so I know I'm kind of jumping around, but I know you mentioned like a lot of people will build like a Spotify playlist, but that's not like, I've worked with a lot of DJs and that's not really your style. You don't really just play music. I see you back there mixing like you create some like club atmosphere, like you can really create a dance floor. What goes into that? Like,
man, that's a great question. So yeah, even though couples do share those Spotify playlists with us, they're more for inspiration. We're not actually going to the wedding, plugging in Spotify and
but I've seen it.
I have too. I've heard the stories. So for me and my team, like we're all very like-minded. We all, especially me, I edit a ton of music ahead of time.
Okay.
I actually even have a Patreon, which if people don't know what that is, the best way to describe it is an OnlyFans for like music. So like literally I have a Patreon where I share my edits, and I've got 100 subscribers or so that are DJs that you kind of are like grabbing my edits. So a lot of times it's taking those songs that people just love and making them ever so slightly unique. Almost in the way that you could go to Applebee's and get a steak and it's going to be a dead cow cooked. Or you could go to a really, really awesome restaurant and then get like a killer steak. Or like from the cows from Japan. It's been massaged. So there's a difference. DJs can play a lot of the same songs, but the way you present them and curate them are different.
Yeah, but it makes a big difference. I feel like with the atmosphere of the room, the party, like people actually are getting up and dancing because you have like a good vibe. Like you can tell you're putting effort into it, and just like the accumulation of everything, I feel like really stands out.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean it does. It's pretty rad. Like this weekend we had a wedding, and they didn't have uplighting, and I didn't realize how much uplighting created the atmosphere, just something small like that.
It creates a lot of depth in a room.
It just makes it feel more like a party, I feel like, like, and I'm an outsider, so I don't really know as much as you, obviously, but like, it just really like creates a vibe, and then throw you on top of there mixing music with, your what is it? Is your haze machine? Right? And like your lighting and stuff like that. And it's not just like the uplighting, but like the lighting you have behind your like mixer or whatever.
Like the dance floor setup and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like it just really creates like a vibe that's really cool. I mean, last wedding we did together, you brought a lighting guy.
Yeah, so I've got, because of my new setup, I need to have a second person to help load in. And my guy stands in the background, he does lights, and he kind of, obviously if there's a crazy hype song, he's going a little faster with the lights. If there's something a little more slow and moody, he's going to go a little slower. And there's like wash lights, and then there's movers. And realistically, the only reason that I bring out a hazer is like the difference between a fog machine and a hazer. Like fog's super heavy clouds, haze is just ever so slightly light. And it's just enough to bring out like the beams of the light and create a little more energy and excitement. Yeah,
that's really cool. So speaking of lights, if you've ever read Reddit, every photographer complains about lasers.
Yes, yeah.
And we talked about that a little bit last wedding. Let's talk about the do's and don'ts with lasers in DJs and photographers.
Yeah, and it goes beyond lasers. If you have DJs listening to this or watching this right now, the biggest no-no in terms of lighting design are those like dot lights.
Yes.
So those are like, I call them spin and puke lights. They cost like $100. You get them at like Spencer's Gifts. There are professional or prosumer versions. To me, those are just a no-no because like even like you're not gonna have those lights on during the formal dances. I hope not. Like your first dance.
Yeah, I would hope not too. Sometimes we've had them on and I've asked them to turn them off. But
yeah, I mean it should just be common sense that like your party lights get turned on when the party starts.
Exactly.
But those lights in general, like I just don't like them because even during the party, a photographer's going around getting those hype shots, like you don't want a bridesmaids with green dots all over her face. And lasers, if we're gonna get into that. I'm going to get very technical here for a minute. There's consumer lasers, which are under 5 milliwatts.
Okay.
And those are essentially just laser pointers. Okay. And that's a lot of those, like you could buy those online, no problem. Then there's lasers, anything above 5 milliwatts requires a variance, which is actually a license to operate them. We talked last time about like, your photography equipment could get just shut out because of it, your lenses. And that's absolutely true. The 5 milliwatt ones, they're just tacky. They're not really going to damage anything. But the ones above that, like if you've gone to a concert and you've seen lasers like above you, those are like the liquid sky effect. Those lasers are strategically aimed at the LED boards in the arenas and things like that. So they're not hitting anybody in the audience and they're going above people. Like you could go blind from using a giant laser like that. Yeah. So you'd have to be licensed. You have to be insured. I have them. I bring them out for like corporate events, like on rare occasion where people want to pay for them, and I could be trained to use them. But yeah, they're at weddings. Like it sounds cool to have lasers, but it's in practice, it's really not.
So what kind of lights are you using then?
So I buy flicker-free lights, which for videographers,
thank you.
They won't flicker. A lot of times you'll see that when you go through the video product. So I use LED bars, which is a wash. The base of any kind of lighting should be a wash to kind of get that room in a solid, nice color. And then I've got moving heads, which are like beam effects that kind of cut through that and create some cool scenes.
So to do that, like, that, what did you call it, a liquid sky or?
For lasers, that's the term.
So are they just using like a haze then? Is that?
Yeah, you need haze. Yeah, even with the highest power lasers, you're not going to get unless there's a bunch of people vaping in the audience or something like that. You're not going to get that full effect.
So you're saying to save money, you could just get a bunch of people.
Just to get a bunch of people to vape. Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll walk into a club that doesn't have a hazer. And like there'll be like a dozen people vaping on the dance floor. I'm like, okay, the lights look cool.
It'll work.
Yeah.
Cool. That's funny. So you do a lot of different things. Like you said, you do corporate events, weddings, clubs.
Yeah. A lot of most of the major Penn State bars and clubs have us as their DJs.
What is your favorite one to do?
Ah, man. So there is a club at Penn State. It's called The Basement now. It used to be Indigo. It used to be Players, but I met my wife there.
That's
so
cool.
It's got a soft spot, and I've been there for 20 years or so. So it's been a long time. And my role there has almost grown into leadership. I'm not just booking the DJs. I'm in charge of their social media. Yeah. I'm a consultant of sorts at weekly meetings. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. What's your favorite part of weddings? DJing weddings?
I mean, absolutely the dance floor.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, every part of wedding is like...
So when my job's basically done, besides like shutter dragging and when I can relax, that's when you shine.
That's what I'm waiting for at every wedding. Obviously, I like all the elegant stuff and all the heartfelt stuff. And all of the formality is like your first dance. And of course, as a girl dad, watching a father-daughter dance, I'm trying to fight back tears at every wedding. But at the end of the day, I'm just waiting for the dance floor. I'm waiting to crush that. Yeah.
That's cool. Do you have a favorite song?
I don't. No? My music taste gravitates everywhere. Yeah. So, and that's probably what makes me good at weddings, because it is a hodgepodge of generations of music styles. I love EDM and dance music, but at the same time, like I DJ like a giant 2,000 person country party every year too.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's in a nightclub, but I play like I don't do EDM, which is like that country EDM sound that's big now. Like it's just straight up country, and I'm mixing it quick and mashing up like a DJ, but like they're the original songs.
Yeah,
and people love it. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. What kind of is it like all country? Is it?
It's 100%.
Do you play
country.
like a lot of old country?
At that party, I mean, it's college kids.
Okay.
So it's pretty commercial. I mean, I'll probably throw in a couple 90s country songs, but it's mostly within the past 15 years.
It's hard to beat some 90s country.
I mean, it's amazing.
You don't realize how good it is until someone throws on like a playlist and you're like, this is what's been missing in my life.
Yeah. But I'm also a sucker for like the commercial pop country too. So I mean, I like it all. You know, I hate when songs get overplayed and like become cliche. Like Bruno Mars is always on a wedding do not playlist these days. Even Taylor Swift is pretty divisive. And it's fun to watch that year to year, like what goes on a wedding do not playlist. Like I think every single one of my weddings this year is like no Meghan Trainor, which thank God she's like my least favorite artist. But yeah, I mean it's fun. It's fun watching that kind of stuff.
I also love when DJs, you don't get it very often, but when they play like some emo music.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Emo's
you throw
big.
some emo.
Yeah.
I feel like it's making a little bit of a comeback, but it always gets like a hype reaction.
Oh yeah.
Like every wedding I've ever been at gets
time it out right, like that
pop.
last like hour.
Yeah.
When people are like, okay, we've heard the 4 on the Floor kind of beat for an hour and a half here. We've heard our hip hop favorites. Let's do some sing-alongs, and the emo or screamo and the punk pop kind of all covers that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man. I was an emo. Definitely loved emo growing up.
Yeah, and I have so many emo edits that I've made that are like 1 minute of like a song where it's just like the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
So you could fly through them and keep that energy up.
So what you've brought up that we were talking about those edits that you make. So is that what you're essentially doing? Is just trying to pull out the best parts of the song? How do you even go about doing that?
Yeah, so I have been an Ableton Live user since version 1, and it's on V12 now.
So this is
that's an editing software, like a music editing software.
Yep.
Yeah.
Talk to me like I'm a elementary student.
I probably should, yeah, because a lot of people, it's not all DJs listening.
No, you're right.
Yeah. So I basically take those, and like a lot of the rock songs, like as good as their drummer might be, it's not steady. So it's almost near impossible to mix live.
Okay.
So I will steady out or quantize the beat. And it's still like, without making the song sound like garbage. Like there's some good time stretching abilities in the music editing software where like the song's still gonna sound like the song. It just makes it possible to mix it.
Yeah.
So there's those elements, and a lot of the songs I do, like I edit, that's just basically what I'm doing. I might throw a chorus first if I feel like it needs that. I might throw a bridge in a chorus to let it build up the emotion of that chorus. And then I can do mashups as well in the software and do bootlegs. Do a cappella outs, which makes it easy for me to like flip the beat on a song. So the a cappella from the end of this song is playing, and the instrumental from the next song is kind of going into it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a lot of the stuff that I do in the editing software.
Okay. That's cool. Do you have like a favorite edit or mix up or that you've made? Yeah,
I've done so many. Back in 2009, David Guetta had a "Love Is Gone" song, and I kind of led like the Bon Jovi "Living on a Prayer" where he says "Love is gone" on it into that. So there's a lot of wordplay, kind of fun flips that I'll do. Most recently, I did like a Charlie XCX 360 medley with Sierra's 1-2 Step and Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso. So the girls always go nuts for that one. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I also did a really, really fun one. So there's a thing called tone play, where you can take like the tone or keys from one song and kind of flip them into another song. And I did ABBA's Mamma Mia into N-Words in Paris by Jay-Z and Kanye because they both they sound very similar in key.
Interesting.
So I kind of just keyed it into one song into another. So I'll do a lot of that kind of stuff too. Those are some of the more recent popular ones.
Okay. Is this all stuff that you're doing on your own? Is there certain edits you make for like specific couples? How?
Yes. And actually one of my favorite edits of last year was this couple that went to Rutgers.
Okay.
And they had their wedding in the State College area. I think the groom had family there. And at Rutgers basketball, they play Wonderwall, and it goes into a very big EDM track. And I like looked for it. I found like a shitty version on YouTube. Somebody recorded with their phone. So I was like, I need to recreate this. So I basically copied what somebody else did, but I recreated it on my own. But to make it fresh, at the beginning of last year when a bar song came out, the guitars to that, the Shabuzi is a bar song.
Okay.
The guitar in that sounds just like Wonderwall to me. Same with Jelly Roll, I Need a Favor. I'm like, how are they? They're both Wonderwall guitars. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to put Wonderwall in front of a bar song. And so for this particular wedding, I already had that edit that I made with Wonderwall into a bar song. I basically flipped it. I started off with a bar song, went into Wonderwall, then recreated that EDM transition that they play at Rutgers. And that was super fun, but it was specifically for that wedding.
Yeah.
And I've used it a bunch since too.
That's pretty cool. So is that something that clients can ask for if they have like an idea, or do you just kind of like look at their playlists and you're like, oh, this is kind of, or do you hear it? Like when you're playing music, you're just like, oh, I think that, you know, maybe next time I could make like, you're just like, I don't know.
A mix of all the above.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last weekend, actually, I had a wedding at Indian Lake.
Okay.
Super fun. The venue was kind of a shit show, to be honest with you. I actually might never take an Indian Lake wedding again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but the couple was so fucking cool. Are we allowed to curse on this?
I mean, I don't care.
Okay. But the couple, big EDM fans.
Yeah.
And there was a new song out by David Guetta and this girl, Sammy Brielle, who was a Penn State alumni of all things.
Oh, that's neat.
And the couple was like, hey, the last hour of our wedding, like starting at 10 o'clock till 11, we want it to be like off the charts. Don't worry about playing clean. We want it just to be a pure club. So this song with David Guetta and Sammy Brielle, she talks about, hey, it's 9 p.m. on an effing Friday. Get the F up. We're going to party. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I found this vocal cloning tool. So I made an acapella of that. There's software that you can strip the acapella of a song. And I took Sammy Brielle's vocals and uploaded it to this AI vocal cloning tool, which, by the way, can be completely dangerous. Like, you could take anything you or I say and be like, yo, I'm cheating on my wife. Let's go. So it's got its negatives, but in this case, I used it as a positive. And I took her vocals and completely customized the song to them. So there were some things I learned about them throughout the planning process, got to know them a bunch. So I took little elements of that song and basically customized the vocal completely for them. And it was a surprise to them. I told them I was making it, and they said they were cool with like the F-bomb, which is heavy in that song. Yeah. And I played at the wedding. Their minds were just blown.
That's really rad. So they didn't even know it was going to happen. No, That's really cool. Do you plan to do more of that, do you think, in the future? Or is that just like a one-off?
I mean, that just sparked all kinds of creative ideas. You know, so I'm definitely, as I have planning calls with my couples, I'm going to be listening pretty intently and kind of putting together pieces. And it doesn't have to have the F-bomb. It could be clean, you know, but in this case, they wanted to kind of go a little raunchy the last hour.
Yeah. So I never even thought about that, because most music probably isn't clean.
No.
So when you're playing a wedding, do you ask the couple? Do you just assume and just play all clean unless they...
I play clean by default unless they tell me otherwise.
What I would assume, but...
I mean, there might be a little slip, like an S word or something, like, you know, whatever. Yeah. But it's clean by default. And I mean, if you really want to date me in my career here, one of my very first weddings, Nelly Hot in Here was a new song. Okay. And we think about how tame that song is in 2025. Yeah. Like, oh, it's like a song you could play at church almost. It just, to me, it's like, it's the most tame, like mellow hip hop song, especially the clean version, which I was playing. And I worked for a company at the time. I didn't own the company. And they got a complaint the night, like on Monday, like, oh, they played Nelly Hot in Here. The song was so dirty. But it was the clean version. So it's just like, you know, too edgy for them at that time.
Was that at a wedding, or is that
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was like, you know, you talk about the evolution of how you grow, and it was a straight up, it was like a fire hall, you know, plastic table cover wedding. And nothing wrong with it. If it's a rager, it's a rager.
No, you're right. You're right. So that's pretty cool. So I mean, let's dive into that a little bit more, I think. With all of this AI, and like you said, you were using that AI to almost like clone the voice and like get it to say whatever you wanted to say. Yep. Are there other like AIs that you're using?
Yeah, I use AI pretty heavily. So our sales process, I've got an assistant, Emily, but it's basically a mix of Emily and AI. Like she'll start the conversation and she'll jump in and answer questions, but we also have a bot that's trained to kind of answer questions, and it'll lay out when it can't. But yeah, it's pretty nice, and I pay like a consulting service for that. Yeah, so that's one way. I also DJ'd a wedding for 70-year-olds last year. Which is definitely on the extreme side of things. Very rarely are 70-year-olds getting married. And I'm definitely guilty at the wedding of pulling up ChatGPT and like, hey, if I have a couple that's 70 years old, you know, what songs would they love? You know, I know the staples, but like, just like in a wedding now, I want to go a little deeper and hit some songs that they might not expect me to play. So ChatGPT definitely helps out in that range too.
I do feel like, at least for me, I underutilize ChatGPT. I feel like I was just listening to a podcast talking about how couples are now starting to book clients asking ChatGPT.
Yeah, I can
for
see
like
that.
They were saying it was a photography podcast, and they were saying like, well, what's the best photographers in our area. So obviously I had to sign on and see if I listed.
Yeah, and that's probably the one time that like all those like local like Johnstown's Best, we've got Center County favorites. That's probably where it's probably crucial to kind of like get the votes in for those. So that like
probably.
I mean, because ChatGPT is basically just scouring the internet. And using like feedback from other users. So it's getting smarter, but it's still essentially a crawler.
Well, it literally it said, when I typed it in, it said searching the internet. Like, I don't know if I don't think it says that all the time.
No, it doesn't.
But yeah, like, luckily I came up, so that was a good thing.
I mean, I can see that being the thing, and you know, people worry a lot about AI, and I'm one of them. Like, some of the stuff it could do is scary, but you know, the people that know how to prompt AI well will have jobs in the future.
That's the thing. I think it is about prompting it. I think I feel like I don't use it enough because I don't know how to prompt it correctly. I feel like my prompts need to be better, more precise, more. I need to like elaborate more on what I want it to do and how I want it to answer, as opposed I just write like 3 words and I'm like, do what I want. You know, it's like my wife always tells me that she can't read my mind. But I feel like she should probably be able to. Same with AI, right?
Yeah, I mean, AI will get to know you. I actually had it do like a SWOT report on my strengths and weaknesses based on what it knew about me.
Cool.
And it's like, okay, well, this is cool. If you've got some emotional intelligence, you could take this and use it to make yourself better. But yeah, I mean, with AI, if you're going to prompt it, like, you need to be detailed, and you need to like basically take it like almost like you're teaching somebody how to do photography. And like, you know, hey, this is what I want you to do. This is the steps I want you to take. Give me the results.
Are there any other ways that you're using AI, or?
Those are the main ways, like a little bit of sales assistance through the bot, especially on like weekends and nights and things like that.
Anything with like mixing, any more with mixing or anything like that? I know it's huge with like photo editing. I feel like I get an update every week that Photoshop and Lightroom have a new, like, they updated their removal tool because it's more AI interactive, and it's just like,
Photoshop
it makes
is nuts.
It's so easy now. When I first started, people were like, oh, you can just delete that person out, right? And I'm like, I can, but it's going to take me 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, you got to hand.
You know what I mean? I'm like, holy moly. And then it still doesn't look good. Now I basically can just highlight the person, gone. Poof. No thinking. Like, I'm like, holy moly, does this speed things up. But for the most part, don't get too crazy if any of my clients are listening. Sometimes it's still hard.
Let's not have too many enemies. Like, sometimes that removing people is like the old school cutting out people's heads out of a photo.
It's still really good most of the time. But sometimes it's not really good, and it's more frustrating than anything. Especially when it comes to like hands are the weirdest thing.
Hands are awful. Like, people just have sausage fingers, 9 fingers.
Well, it'll like make their hand backwards. And you can't create things that aren't there. Like, if there's a hand behind somebody and it shouldn't be behind somebody anymore, that hand just gone now. And it just does not know what to put there. So There are exceptions still, so give it some time.
I have 2 examples. So like, since my team does social media
Yeah.
for a couple of bars downtown at Penn State, we had a situation where they were doing like 50 wings and a beer tower for like $40, and the chef didn't feel like wasting food on like, prepping for a social media photo. So I got a table at the restaurant, used a circle, used the generative AI. I'm like, I need 50 hot wings on a tray here. And
That's
nailed
rad.
it, yeah. And same thing with like the club. We had a big night at the club, and I wanted like as a social media post to show like people camping out. Nobody's camping out in front of a club to go out the next day. But I used the generative AI, circled the door in front of the club. I'm like, throw some tents there. Nailed
That's
it.
fun,
Yeah, it was
man. That's
perfect.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you're doing like the social media for that club then?
I've got some assistants, some
Okay.
college
'Cause I
girls.
thought you mentioned that you have a social media person that sometimes will come with you, right?
Yep, Austin Finley, great videographer.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't shoot weddings.
Okay.
It's basically his passion, but he likes like the party and nightlife elements of
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he'll just do like social media, like behind the scenes for you then and stuff
He'll
like
do
that?
behind the scenes. He'll do like full on kind of like hype recaps. If you go to my Instagram, like there's definitely a good section of his work on there.
What's your Instagram for the
At-
people?
Well, my personal Instagram is at DJ Alex Nepa.
Okay. And then your company's?
Yep, at Mint DJ Events.
There we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, just so I don't forget
Yeah,
to ask you that.
Yeah, definitely give us a follow. We try to be as fun as possible.
Yeah. No, I saw that one behind the scenes that you did. I think it was in Indian Lake.
Yeah,
actually.
it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was pretty cool. It was like, it was a good video. Like it
Yeah, he's solid, man. He's a great editor.
Yeah.
Great. He knows how to capture like the essence of what I like. So yeah.
Yeah, it was cool because it wasn't just like thrown together by I was gonna say thrown together by you, but I don't mean it to be condescending.
no,
I mean
that's
because you're working.
Yeah.
Like being a DJ, you don't, like I said, you don't just sit up there and play a Spotify playlist. Like you're working, you're mixing music, you're doing
Yeah.
a million things,
I'm trying
right?
to look
You're
at the crowd and think
emceeing
3 or 4 crowds
right?
that have songs I
like
hit. Yep.
some DJs bring another MC. You're emceeing and DJing. It's what you're doing is a full-time job, let alone to get behind the scenes. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like I rely heavily on like videographers, venue managers, planners. Like a lot of times they're the one running around with the phones, capturing the stories and things like that. Whereas like I am the worst at capturing stories just because I can't. Like I'm doing so much. Yeah.
Yeah. So is he using a camera to capture behind the scenes, or is he using a phone?
He is a gear nerd. He's got like a Sony A7 III and like 85 lenses. He comes in with like 3 briefcases, and I'm like, let's not dress down. Like just because his family owns like 8 pizza shops at State College, so he doesn't need to work. He just kind of loves it.
Yeah.
But he collects gear like you wouldn't believe, and I'm guilty of that as well. I love my gear. So, yeah.
I feel you. Obviously, you see you're like, oh, we're doing 2 cameras.
We're
I'm
shooting
like,
3 cameras
actually,
here, yeah.
We're gonna do 3 views. But and this is just my video stuff. It's not even my photo stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna ask because like to the civilian like me, like that isn't like doesn't. I know just enough to be dangerous about videography and photography, but the cameras look the same. But I assume they're not.
So the 2 side angles are the same. Our main wide camera is different. That's actually the wide camera.
It's a big boy.
It's actually only video.
Okay.
It's a cinema camera. And then those 2 are more hybrid cameras. So those are more for photo, or I could use those for photo or video.
Yep.
Those 2 I designated towards video. But I have 2 more of those cameras at home that I designate for photo only. Okay. So I'd rather have more gear and in case something would go down.
Yeah,
because sometimes
being redundant is so clutch.
Do both.
Yeah.
I like to have backups in case something would happen. You know, like we were shooting a wedding up here last year, and we got crazy winds and rain out of nowhere.
You were there. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, you were. You were the DJ.
That was a hell of a one.
And I did photo only for that one, but the videographer's cameras blew over, and I was just like, well, I hope if your camera's down, I have extras.
Yeah.
But I don't think he had an extra camera.
Yikes. Yeah. You gotta, even if it's in the car. Yeah. Like ideally, you'd have it like somewhere you could grab it. But if you've got it in your van or your car. Yeah.
Yeah, and my wife isn't probably the biggest fan of it, but we have too much gear, and I don't know. I feel like I need a whole separate house just for camera gear, and
it's stupid.
With camera gear and lighting, and and then sound. It's just like it's a whole
That's
the whole world.
Kind of like our corporate events. We do dozens of corporate events a year, and they're usually the bigger ones. And stage design is a big piece of what we do, and kind of that's your backdrop, whether that's a video wall or whether that's like a cool curtain or something with your logo on it and lights. But there's so many pieces that I buy, and corporate. There's no money in corporate events. There's no such thing as budgets for bigger corporate events.
Yeah.
Like if you quote them $20,000 for a stage design, nobody's blinking at you. So a lot of times I sell the stage design, then I buy the pieces I need for it.
Okay.
And they never get used again. If I can find a way to use them or sell them, I'll use them again. Or if I can kind of incorporate them into my lighting, my wedding setup, which is kind of my new lighting for weddings, is what I did. That was from a one-off corporate event. I'm like, I can kind of refresh this.
So what lighting are you referring to?
The LED batons.
Okay. I love those, dude. Those are rad. Yeah.
And one of the reasons I got them too was I was DJing a wedding. I had those tube lights, which are super popular. A lot of DJs have them. And they're a really cool, elegant looking effect, but they don't really light the dance floor that well.
No.
So a lot of, I was doing a wedding with a videographer. I was at a nicer venue, like one of those super crazy, loading dock hotel venues. And I had these cool ass tube lights, and in my mind, I'm like, oh, they're badass, they're cool, they look cool. They're more eye candy though than they are wash. And the videographer had all these lights, and he had his own tube lights that were brighter than mine. And I'm like, fuck this guy, I'm getting jealous. So I made sure to have these powerful wash lights that would give photographers and videographers enough light on the dance floor that they could capture it without using their own stuff. Now, if they want to, that's cool too.
Yeah, I mean, for dance floors, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. If I'm doing photo, I just need flashes. It's nice. No one complains about flashes. It's just a quick pop and it's over with. When we're doing video, I do not on the dance floor, but for speeches and stuff like that, I do like to have spotlights up.
I should probably clarify too, because you probably have videographers and photographers that follow you, that watch your podcast. You're an industry veteran, industry leader. I should say that those lights don't bother me. Like the wash lights that photographers use, it's when they try to replicate the DJ lights. I don't know if videographers sometimes will have LED lights that
LEDs,
blink and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I'm like, my lights can do that. What do you need that for? But it's more about the standard kind of whitewash lights that are going to get you that crisp footage. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah, you almost need that for video. For I don't care what venue it is. They can tell you it's light enough. It's not. Yeah.
Well, until they've operated a video, because it's nuts.
Well, too, you want to have good skin tones. You want to have, it's nice if you can to throw a light behind them and create a rim light.
Yep.
And if you don't know what a rim light is, if you ever see video, it's the light that's, it's kind of almost like a halo around your body, which looks so good. It creates great depth. Some contrast, and I'm not setting up like a movie theater. I like to set up 2 lights, at most. It depends on the venue. Sometimes I'll just set up 1, it just set up, create a little bit of contrast, get better skin tones, things like that. But during the dance floor, I like it to be darker. I like it to feel like a vibe. I've worked with videographers before I did video, and they'll set up these LEDs on the dance floor, and I'm just like, well, why'd we turn the lights down?
Yeah.
It looks like daytime. It looks like all the lights were back on.
There's a limit. I've worked with videographers, and it looks like you've got the surface of the sun.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Which you're gonna get awesome. It's gonna look awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be so crisp. Yeah.
But you're killing the vibe,
you're not gonna have a party to video. People love to dance in the dark.
Yeah.
Yep. Or with colorful lights.
Yeah. Right. And it's just, I don't know, to each their own.
But going into the video thing, because I'm so fascinated by video. And doing corporate events and even bigger arenas, the arena in Penn State is the Bryce Jordan Center.
Yeah,
We've done corporate events there.
Yeah, that's really rad, man.
And I have enough black drape to cover every seat in the lower bowl. And the reason for that is I hate empty seats in video.
Okay.
So if I'm doing a corporate event and there's 300 people, 400 people in the Jordan Center, it looks good on the floor. But all those empty seats just bug the shit out of me.
Yeah.
So black makes things disappear.
Yeah.
So if you've got your moving heads focused on the actual area where the people are, and that area blacked out with some black drape. It's like it doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
So you've got like this cool, like this way cooler video. So lighting is everything with video, and it's just that TV magic is cool.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into video. Like, I think, I mean, I'm sure you know this too. Just like it's just like anything with weddings. Like, I feel like you take on 1,000 roles.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, if you were doing probably like, I'm assuming now. So when we do corporate work, when you do corporate work, is each thing like a specific job?
I mean, you're working with the team.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm getting at. There's a team, right? So like with wedding videography, right? It's basically like my wife and I doing videography and photography. When you're on like a corporate or like a movie set or something like that, you have a director, you have lighting specialists, you have someone doing sound, you have someone just operating the camera. That's all me. You know,
and that's one thing about weddings.
So I'm asking, is that like the same then? Is like for DJing, like?
Yeah, I mean, for DJing weddings.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing. So like most of the time, with the weddings I do, there's a coordinator or a planner.
Yeah.
So in that role, it's nicer because they're the expert at their field. They can flow the timeline. I'm just going to kind of follow that lead. So we both, before we started recording, we talked about we're both type A personalities. I've definitely developed the ability to kind of lay back and like, okay, I trust this person. They're going to be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, my couple hired them, so we're working as a team. Like,
well, I can definitely sit back with people I trust. That's why I like doing this podcast, because I like to interview people that I want our clients to book with, you know, because like I know when you're there, I don't have to worry about coordinating the day. Like I can, once we get to the reception, you have people lined up, you're ready for intros, you're not bugging me about anything, like everything's on time, you get things done. Like I don't have to worry about being like, hey, are we gonna like, hey, we're out of here, you know, at 9:30, or are we gonna do this whatever, you know, like you know the schedule, you get it done. Like,
thank you. Yeah,
it's just, absolutely. So sorry to interrupt you, but
no. I was actually probably interrupting you. I think the one thing that I train my DJs on, like very heavily, like especially the guys that are dope DJs that might not know the wedding realm, is, and I've seen it so many times with other DJs too, like your photographer, your videographer, like all those people like at the wedding are teammates. And
100%.
You need to communicate with them. Like, so if you're the one running the timeline, which, you know, most of the time, like I am the entertainment portion of the timeline, I'm running that. So that's like your important dances and stuff, your speeches. You need to tell your videographer, like, hey, we're going to do this in 5 minutes. Are you cool with that? You know, are you ready for it? Because you're going to miss the shots that you're getting paid to capture because of the DJ if we don't communicate that. So that's kind of where I was going, because I've been to so many weddings as a guest or in a wedding party where like nobody's communicating with the photographer, and like the DJ announces something and like you see them just running and scrambling to get their stuff in place and to capture like the last bits of that shot because nobody told them.
And we've been so blessed to do so many weddings with you guys, which I almost forget how good we have it until we have a DJ that like I'm in the back. I get no, like,
it's always,
and you know,
bathroom,
you never get a bathroom break.
No.
Right? You're constantly working. So after dinner, I try to go to the bathroom real quick, and I'm in the bathroom and I hear, you know, please introduce for the first dance. And I'm like, God, you gotta be kidding me. like I finally got a chance to go to the bathroom and now we're doing the first dance. Like no one looked for me. No one, like, come on, man.
Yeah, I have a funny story where I kind of trolled a photographer once. She was brand new. Her work looked great, so she had the fundamentals of being a good photographer down. But it was at the Nittany Lion Inn at Penn State.
Okay.
And what they do for vendors, like the vendor doesn't eat in the same room.
Okay.
Like you just go off into like the bar and get yourself a meal. And I never eat really at weddings, unfortunately, especially here with such amazing food from Flavor of Country. I just hate feeling full when it's time to throw a party. So I'm usually in the room at all times behind my DJ setup, mixing dinner music and stuff. But the photographer's like, oh, don't do anything important. I'm going to go eat my food. And I totally get why photographers eat, because you guys start at like 10 a.m. capturing makeup shots. Yeah. And you guys are there until a lot of times 11 p.m. as well. Yeah. So it's like easily a 12, 14-hour day. And then that's even before the editing. But the girl came back. She's like, did I miss anything? And I'm like, yeah, we did the first dance and the parents' dances. But I pulled out my phone. I'm like, I got some pictures with my phone. Can I airdrop them to you? And her face, she was just mortified. And like before she started crying, I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm just trolling you. And you didn't do anything. Nothing happened. It's still going to happen. Yeah.
That's funny. I actually try to troll I try to do something very similar to my brides when I first get there. Because a lot of brides, I feel like, well, you do a lot of ceremonies too.
Yep.
But personalities change so much the day of, from before the ceremony till
the reception, all the nerves.
Right? There's so much nerves in the morning. So I always try to make a joke. Like the one couple, I went and I was doing this wedding, and I took her dress to get a picture of it, and she goes, "Hey, my veil was in there, right?" And I was like, "No, there was no veil in that dress bag. Did you put it somewhere else? I didn't see it." And you would thought she was about to have a heart attack, right? But then, like, I obviously told her, before, like, I gave a couple seconds, and then I was like, I'm just joking. It was obviously in there. But like, it just changes the mood. Like, that, like, I don't know. I just feel like it helps ease the tension so much.
So they're probably super nervous. So you're like playing to that like kind of nervousness.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you're like, then all of a sudden like you're making a joke. So you ruin some trust. Yeah.
Well then, like, so like I make a joke and then they want to get me back. Oh, right. Okay. So then they kind of like, they're like, well now, I'm going to, try to get you, or, like they'll try to start talking trash on me a little bit or something. And I'm like, that's what I want, because now you're not thinking about what's happening today. Yeah, their
shoulders are probably a little more relaxed in photos.
Like you're not just like thinking, oh, I'm getting married today. You're like, oh, now I got to get Eddie back because he's dogging on me, like, but yeah, that usually seems to help ease the tension a little bit, especially if you like never met them. They have no idea what to expect. You walk in. I rarely never meet my couples before the day of, but there are some instances where I just don't. They're from out of town. We can't do an engagement, whatever. And like, there's no better way to, in my opinion, to like set a mood and like create like a good vibe rather than like a joke or like just like picking a little bit, just like get their mind off of like, this is the biggest day of your life thus far,
Like, being loose and chill, even in like the most formal of settings, goes far. And like at the end of the day, people just want to get married, fall in love, and have a party.
100%.
So it's just it's just kind of like cool them down, calm them down. Yeah.
And honestly, that's why I love first looks. Like, I know you don't get to see that part.
No, I'd probably cry every time.
It is, but I love it. It's just, it kind of like eases the tension. Yep. It instead of waiting until, like when we're here, our ceremonies are usually at 4. Yep. You get to do like, next weekend we have a first look. It's going to be done at 1, Okay. So like you get to see your significant other 3 hours earlier.
Yep.
So you have 3 hours where you're just chill. You're more relaxed when you walk down the aisle. You're more relaxed. Like the rest, you get to see your significant other for 3 extra hours. Mm-hmm. Like if not, you don't see them until 4. And from like 4 to 10, as opposed to 1 to 10, you know what I mean? Like it's just so much, it just makes more sense to me,
Yeah, that's smart. I never thought of that, and that
there's
totally
a lot
makes sense.
And I didn't either. Like when we got married, we didn't do a first look, but if I would redo it, I would want to. They weren't really a huge thing when we've been married for 12 years. Okay. They weren't like a big thing 12 years ago, It was like,
right. Like that's kind of like when that's when they kind of started.
They started. Yeah. They were around for sure. Because I remember Amanda and I talking about it, but it wasn't really like, well, I just didn't understand, I think, also the significance. Like, I was just like, why do something different? Let's just do the traditional thing, But like now doing so many weddings and planning so many and seeing how people's personalities change, because I was nervous on my wedding day.
Oh yeah,
I don't even get nervous.
Big time. Yeah,
I don't get nervous about most things, but my wedding, nervous.
Yeah,
it's
just one of those things. Yeah, it's you just want to do good. Yeah.
Yeah, but after that ceremony, you feel good, man. You're ready to go. You're ready to have a party, have fun, like celebrate. Like I said, for most people, that's the biggest step of their lives.
Huge.
Up to that point.
Up until that moment. Yeah. And then you buy a house and have kids.
Yeah. So. There's something to be nervous about, but I don't know. I just feel like that's important to break that tension.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So many people are stressed and nervous on their wedding day. So having that icebreaker, being able to take a little bit of that off, because you're not going to completely eliminate it.
No.
But yeah, I mean, that's super smart. I never thought about like that as a reason for the first look, but it makes sense.
Yeah, that's why we like to do it. We still probably only do maybe like 40% of our weddings do first looks. A lot of them don't.
It's pretty mixed, yeah.
Going to this is actually something more on your lines. If you do a first look, you don't really have to do like the newlywed photos after the ceremony. So then they get to go to cocktail hour and like the party starts earlier for them, you know? And as opposed to you miss your basically whole cocktail hour.
Yeah.
Because that's the only time you get pictures with your significant other, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I could only imagine like on your side of things, on a photographer and videographer side of things too, you know, if they don't do a first look and they do it the traditional way, you've got to not only get those photos, but you've got to get those in the family formals done.
Formals,
and you've got like, what, an hour and 15 minutes to squeeze those in?
Depends, sometimes less, So usually less. Usually we have about 15 to 20 minutes. What we usually plan for, depending on how many you have, is about 15 to 20 minutes for family formals, and then we have about 30 minutes for newlyweds. And it just kind of depends. We have to, when we do your timeline, we have to prioritize what you want to prioritize. We try to limit people to about 10 family formals, which just isn't realistic for some couples.
No.
But
yeah, especially the big Italian families.
Well, and then you have some families that are, you know, divorced and they go, you got to do both sides and this and that. Like our next wedding, I think we have about, maybe it's in 2 weddings. We have like 22 family formals.
Wow. It's a big
and it takes about 1 to 2 minutes per family formal. So you're looking at least 20, if not 35 minutes.
Now, are they doing a first look or are they?
I can't remember. I'm not on that wedding yet.
Yeah,
I know we made the timeline, but I have a call tonight with a couple, so I have that one fresh in my mind because I was looking over it this morning.
Yeah. That's how my mind works too.
But thinking about it, statistically wise, since we have one next weekend, we probably don't. That one's the following weekend. I don't think that we would have to do one statistically because that would be over 50%.
Yeah,
that would be 50%. But
okay, so you're actually keeping. You're not just making up like percentage numbers like I do.
No. I'm making them up in my head, but it's probably pretty accurate. I would bet about 40%. Which it wouldn't be hard math because we only do about 25 weddings a year. So that's pretty easy math if you're looking for statistics. You know, multiply it by 4. You know, you get 100%. Yeah, there's just a lot of benefits to it. But looking at it from a DJ's perspective, if we do a first look, they get to spend time with their cocktail hour. They get to talk to everybody during their cocktail hour. You don't have to waste time going table to table talking to people.
Yeah.
And then we get to start the party earlier. We get to start those things earlier. And then you have more time for the actual party at the end of the night.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it's way more efficient. It's just whether you want to be traditional or not.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of skin in a lot of things at weddings, but the one thing that gets me is, and I totally understand it because I'm married, I've got a giant family, my wife does too, and her parents are divorced, so we were talking about those split family things. You know, the couples that like have no choice and have to go like table to table at the end of weddings, at the end of the dinner. All of the guests, I have so many guests come up to me like, oh, can you start the party? Can the party start? I was like, the couple's walking around from table to table, and I think one of the biggest things at weddings, if the couple isn't on the dance floor, the party's not going to be on the dance floor. The couple needs to be on the dance floor, with the exception of, you know, getting taken out for some sunset photos or something like that.
I do. I was just going to bring that up. I was going to say, I get that from DJs. They're like, hey, you're not going to like take this couple like 16 times during the reception, right? Yeah. I'm like, no, man, I might pull them one time. Yeah. I'm either going to pull them for a sunset if we get a killer sunset, or I'm going to pull them for night photos. Yep. My luck, for some reason, we never get good sunsets. I don't know why, but we always get, I feel like it's overcast or we're in Pennsylvania, right? It is what it is.
It's rainier in central and western Pennsylvania than it is Seattle.
Right. Yeah. We get some, but a lot of times we end up just doing like a night photo, which is...
Those look cool too.
I love them.
Super cool.
I love them, especially if you can add some rain in there or some mist or something. It looks really rad. Obviously nobody wants rain on their wedding.
Just bring out some misters.
Yeah, just get the hose out there.
Sure, the brides would love
Have
that.
Corey just standing there with a hose behind him. That's actually not a bad idea. I might have to talk to Corey about that.
Some cool blue light and a hose, behind them.
But that's cool, man. What do you have any like pet peeves of photographers or videographers that I can take notes on not to do?
No, I mean, man, like I'm blessed to work with so many good ones.
Yeah.
So like my memory of bad ones is few and far between. Most of the time, like, I mean, I always check out your work before and after, and like I'm like, oh, this photographer looks like they're dope.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But no, bad attitudes is probably the only thing that really gets me, and you know that obviously you're excluded from that.
Are they just? Because I feel like a lot of creatives, and I mean, we're obviously both in that space.
Yep.
You and I don't think are like this, but a lot of creatives that I meet and work with do seem to be more type B and more like quiet.
There's definitely
Which I can feel like though sometimes that comes off as like standoffish, is kind of like you know?
I get that. I'd like some kind of personality.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like a brick wall. You know, but on the flip side, like I don't want somebody that's just nasty, and like I have worked with more when I was younger and like kind of getting my own bearings. One of the old games used to be like photographers never in the old days stayed for the party.
Okay.
Like it was just like, let me get the formal shots, let me get all the important stuff, and I'm peacing out. And so the old school traditional way would be like all the formal dances happen after dinner. Yeah. Like more often than not now they're before dinner, and like, you know, you get the party after dinner. But back in the old days, like the photographer would come up to me and like nasty, and like, you know, they're older, usually like a guy in his 60s or whatever, and be like, yo, the couple was ready to do this now. And I'd be like, I'm trusting you because you're older than me and you've done this way longer than me. And I'd get on the microphone and announce it, despite the fact that my timeline said differently. And this was multiple times with multiple older photographers. No. And I'd introduce it, and the couple would look at me like, what the F is this guy doing? Like, why is he announcing this right now? This is not the plan. We didn't know about this. And the photographer's over there like, gotcha, peace. Like, I'm heading out. I'm going home. So yeah, that was pretty terrible. But those are the things that bug me. But that's not the case anymore. I'm usually the veteran at the weddings now.
Yeah. So do you prefer like a more modern wedding?
In terms
in sense of like just like traditions, like, so I know in the sense of like, for instance, it seems like this year I don't know if we're going to do any garter tosses.
Yeah,
you know, that seems to be going away.
Those can go away. Yeah. I mean, the thing too, if you know, like I took a class like in the early 2000s about like why things happen at weddings. And some of the stuff would blow your mind, like the reason people cut the cake in front of everybody, like, which is kind of going away too.
I was just gonna say that was my next thing. The next wedding we have next weekend together, we're doing a private cake cutting.
Yeah, that's pretty much the case these days. But the reason like you used to announce the cake cutting is because weddings, big weddings, were only held by royalty in England, and sugar was super expensive back in those days, so nobody had cake. Okay. So like watching the royal couple cut this crazy cake is like, oh my God, can you believe it? They've got cake. Okay. So that was the reason why that started.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
And another little fact, the dollar dance or the bridal dance that we know of, and I'm a sucker. I like the bridal dance. I think it's fun. I think it burns up 20 fun minutes. Like, it's a fun way of like you said before, like not having to go table to table. Yeah. So like everybody comes up, dances with the bride, the groom fights through. But that tradition was actually because in Eastern Europe, most women were prostitutes before they were married, and then the man claimed them. Super chauvinistic, super old school, and we're talking medieval times. And that kind of replaces like everybody's getting their turn with the bride, and the groom fights in and takes her, and that's why that formality takes place. Like, take away the fact that like it's gross, you know, but like I still think that's a fun thing to do at weddings.
Yeah. See, I didn't know that. Because I thought her last dance was supposed to be with her dad. Wasn't it supposed to be with her dad, and then isn't that how you're supposed to do it? It's supposed to be the last dance with her dad, and then...
You might know more than me. I haven't heard that.
Not everybody does it that way, but I believe that's the traditional way. Not saying that it doesn't have weird
undertones,
beginnings, but...
maybe that tradition kind of came in later.
And then that's like the groom has to fight in and like take her from her dad or whatever.
So yeah, that is actually really cool. I didn't know that.
Because it is like isn't it like a Slovak, like a Polish?
Eastern European, yeah. They all have different ways of doing it. But yeah, it's
tradition?
mostly Polish and Slovak.
Because it's like a polka song that you're supposed to play, right?
Yeah, it's. I actually made a 32-minute long version of that polka song because that polka song is literally like 45 seconds long.
Oh.
And the dollar dance usually takes, or the bridal dance takes, what, 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
So I just have to hit the cue. So I was like, okay, this is my bathroom break.
Yeah. So, again, our wedding coming up, they're doing a different variation of that. I don't know if you know this or not yet, but they're going to, instead of dancing around her, and they're not even going to dance with her, the couple's going to stand up front. You're going to come up.
Oh, the photo op. Yeah.
Get
They
a
did tell me
picture
about this.
And then after the picture, you like put money in the apron and you take a shot.
Yeah.
So no dance. Easier for me to get pictures. You don't get the whole dancing vibe or whatever, but just something different. I've never done that.
And it gives them a chance to get the photo with all their guests, which is nice.
Yeah.
I've seen like, it seems to be like a new trend, like the couple trying to get a photo with all the guests. Like they've used my photo booth for that before. I've also worked with photographers that, like, as guests leave the cocktail hour and go into the main ballroom space, they'll get a photo like at the entryway with the couple right before then too. So yeah, that's just a fun, cool way to get a photo with everybody. I'm sure this is one thing photographers probably hate, that TikTok trend from like 3 years ago where you have to rush from table to table.
I don't mind it.
No?
It's quick.
Okay.
It's quick. It's not like, it doesn't take.
And you're in shape better than most photographers too, so you probably got a little more cardio.
It doesn't bother me. The only thing that I don't love about it is it's always dark by that time.
Yeah.
And so my aperture is quite low, so my depth of field is small. So if we're doing if it's a big table and there's multiple rows, everyone's not going to be crisp.
Yep.
Like you're going to get people in the background are going to be blurry. Like the second, third row, they're not going to be super sharp.
I feel like that makes it more organic, though.
Yeah. I mean, if you're okay with that, you just have to. I just let my couples know that before we do it. But if we can get, and you can't talk to the people because the music's so loud and no one can hear you. Yeah. I'm just hoping that they smile for the three, because I usually like to take at least 3 pictures because you're in 2 of them you're gonna have people blinking or not looking at you.
Yep.
But so hopefully we get 1 at least and everyone's looking, but which is always the first one, which is nice.
Yeah.
Everyone knows it's coming, and then they're like, wait, we're doing more than 1, even though I'm putting my hands up like we're doing 3, 2, 1. No, but yeah. I mean, I really don't mind that one just because it's quick, it's fast. Like I said, I like to get to the party because I like to do shutter drag pictures and
those look super cool.
I think they're fun. They look like it's a party. Yeah. Like if I'm taking crisp pictures, with direct flash or bouncing flash, whatever I'm doing at that point, it doesn't feel like a party vibe.
Yeah.
But when I'm dragging my shutter and getting those lights and they're swirling and I feel like it feels like a party, and that's what in my opinion, those photos should look like.
Yeah, and so you've got a good portfolio of your nice, clean, formal shots, a couple shots, and then you've got the couple of table-to-table photos, which are a little more. It probably tells the story of the night, right? Things get a little fadier, a little bit grittier at the end of the night.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, in my opinion, I don't know if you're seeing this. Are you seeing a lot of the traditions kind of going away then?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, God, even the grand entrance, even if they've I love a big wedding party because to me, I know we both listen to the same podcast and people talk about how much they hate big wedding parties, and I could see having to shoot 18 people is probably rough.
Honestly, I don't mind it because it gives me more range. A big bridal party, I get more range to do things as opposed to a smaller bridal party. Yeah. So I'd actually, if we don't have that middle ground, that 4 to 6, let's say, aside, I'd rather have 12 aside as opposed to 2 aside.
Yeah, for me, I just know the wedding party is going to be the ones that party. They're the couple's closest friends. They're going to be the ones on the dance floor with them, and that'll follow everybody else. But going back to the reason why I brought it up, people aren't even doing a lot of times they'll do a bridal bomb, which we do a ton here, which is all the groomsmen enter, all the bridesmaids enter. But sometimes a lot of time it's just the couples entering. Yeah. And they'll go right in the first dance. So even that formality has changed. But first dances, people like shorter edits. I think 2 to 2.5 minutes is a sweet spot instead of 4 to 6 minutes, which is nuts. those, like the cake cutting's usually private, if at all these days. The dollar dance, that's every Western Pennsylvania wedding. Yes, that's going to happen. Other weddings that aren't in Western Pennsylvania, not so much, but all of those, like garter and bouquet, like that's pretty much dead. I'll do those like twice a year.
Yeah.
So again, I don't really have a problem with it. It's cool, but most of the couples are choosing not to do it.
I like when the bridesmaids and groomsmen enter as like a group.
Me too. Yeah.
I feel like the entrances it's not my favorite thing, just because it's kind of like when the best man starts a speech or the maid of honor and says, "For those of you who don't know me," everybody there already knows that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're entering, they're like, we're
here
entering
for you.
You're like announcing them like nobody knows who's entering. You know what I mean? It's in my opinion, it's kind of silly. To announce every single person. That's why I do like the group coming in, one group. And then I do like if they like create a tunnel or like
that too a lot.
all hang out, and then it's just like they come in and it gets real hype. Like it's so much better for photos, as opposed to a couple coming in and doing the sprinkler, because every single person does that, and then there's a couple of them that they're like, I don't want to do anything. We're just going to walk in and chug a beer.
I've seen ones that are just completely rigid and
like it's everybody's more loose when everybody's coming in. You're with your guys, with your girls, whichever it may be, and it's just like, and then like the bride and groom may come in and you can hype them up and get excited, and I feel like the pictures are better.
Yeah, I mean anything that's visually interesting, especially the
exactly.
tunnel thing. Another thing too with the traditional pairing where, the bridesmaid and groomsmen are paired up with like the person they walk down the aisle of the wedding with. Yeah. They're, meshed with at the end of their wedding. It's a lot of times that groomsman or that bridesmaid has a significant other or, they're dating or married to somebody else, and it's not the person they're matched up with, because the bride has her set of friends, the groom has his set of friends, and a lot of times there's not a lot of intermingling. Yeah. So it's just like I'm walking in with a stranger versus walking in with my boys. Yeah. Or my girls.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. I never thought of it in that way, but I like that. I think that's cool. I just never could get behind the whole entrance thing,
Yeah, I mean, I get to use my pro wrestling ring announcer voice, so I'm always happy with that.
Again, not every DJ is on that level. Let's remember that.
Yeah, that's true. Marble mouth.
Just even like lining everybody up, getting everybody organized. You have to go with this person. And then like some wedding party, we're introducing the grandparents, the parents, the flower girl.
That's the most traditional.
The ring bearer. Yeah. We're doing announcing 20 people in, and I'm just like, let's get started. Let's go. Just downtime.
Yeah. How do you feel about so this is something that I don't really have any personal preference over, but like the placement of toasts. So the traditional way is, you do your first dance and you do your toast, whatever, and then dinner is served. But a lot of times now I see a lot of planners and coordinators actually doing toasts at the end of dinner. And I think that's cool because it breaks it up. I don't really have a personal preference, but I do always worry about photographers because you guys have already worked 9 hours at that point. And like, this is your one chance to actually eat a meal. Like if the toasts are at the end of the meal, do you feel like rushed to have to like shovel some food down and run out there?
So I don't. I'm a big, when I'm building a timeline, I'm really a very structured, organized person. Yeah. So I really like to make my timelines like bulletproof. So I like to add buffer time in. But I also like to minimize downtime, because downtime is lost time. Yes. So if you build in buffer time, but you also build your schedule so that your timeline, so that you can, if you're done early, you can just move things up a little bit. Yep. You know what I mean? It's a lot harder to move things back because you're running late.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. No. And that always gets put back on the photographer, is if you're late, you're probably late because of the photographer.
Yeah, you guys do get that.
Right?
Yeah.
Up to the reception. Yeah. Once the reception comes in, I'll say, DJ, take the reins, brother. Like, you're up. But so I want to make sure our schedule is bulletproof, right? But I also don't want to have a bunch of downtime. So I want to be able to have the minimal downtime. So for example, or going into what you said, if you do the speeches beforehand you can do that, but I feel like doing it towards the end of dinner, people, because it takes so long to feed everybody through a buffet, whether it's a buffet or plated. It takes a long time to get everything out.
It does, yeah.
So if once the last people get food, if you start the speeches, they can eat and listen. But if you do it before everybody, if everybody's waiting to eat,
they're getting hangry.
it just takes longer. You know what I mean? I feel like it's not the most efficient way.
Yeah.
Is the only reason that I think that you could do things towards the end of dinner, before dinner's fully over. That's a good time to do like a private cake cutting, because the couple eats first. We usually eat not first, but like I like to eat after like the bridal party, immediate family, me.
Yeah. That's important. Just 'cause,
I'm trying to eat quick because I want to be back in the game.
Yep.
I need to eat real quick because I haven't eaten since the day before. So I need to eat some food, and then I need to get put back in the game, right? I need to get ready for the speeches, whatever we're doing. So I like to do entrances. Honestly, I like to do entrances. If they want to do their dance, go right into their dance, prayer, dinner.
Yeah, I like that too. That's.
But it depends though. If it's you can do it either way, but that seems to work best for that like sweet spot when you're doing like, probably like 200 to 300 guests.
Yes.
It takes a long time to feed 200 to 300 people.
Well, if you want to talk about like time delays, like the time delays I have seen from photographers are usually just minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like hairstylists and makeup people sometimes earlier in the day can throw off a whole timeline.
You said it, not me.
Hey man, they make everybody look beautiful, so it's all good. But I've done a lot of Philadelphia and New Jersey weddings, and these venues are all gorgeous, and they're professionally run, and there's like literally a maitre d' and a planner assigned to your wedding. But they're wedding factories. Like they're like marble floors, marble walls, like freaking steel, like beautiful columns. So I'm not trying to diss or take away from like the aesthetic or like the quality of the venues, but they'll do like 5 weddings in one day. That's one kitchen for 5 weddings.
That's crazy.
And I have literally seen dinners be delayed so much that I'm starting the dance floor like before they serve dinner, like just to kind of make time. And then after dinner, I like have like an hour of dancing because things are so delayed.
Yeah.
So like sometimes it could be delayed up to an hour just because of like a kitchen that's doing too many weddings at once. And in that case, I'm like, I've got people from like 20 to 60 or even older at a wedding where I'm trying to like hit a little bit of something for everybody. Obviously I'm playing more for like the wedding party and the younger people, just because they're going to be people that are partying the most. But like I feel like a crackhead ripping through songs at some of those weddings where I'm like trying to play a little bit of something for older people, like yet at the same time make it exciting, like, and kind of build to like the newer stuff for the younger guests.
That is a pet peeve of mine. Vendors that don't know how long things take.
Yeah.
They're not things in general, their thing.
Oh, like,
like if you're a makeup artist, you should know how long it takes you to do one person.
Yep.
And then multiply that by how many people you have. If you're a caterer, you should know how long it takes to serve 200 people. Like I said earlier, like when we're doing family formals, 1 to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll tell the couple that tonight when we have that talk. I'm going to say it's going to take 1 to 2 minutes for this.
Especially those venues that are pumping out like 3 weddings a year.
Like people want to do receiving lines after their wedding, where everyone goes and shakes their hand after the wedding. That takes about 30 seconds to a minute per person.
Wow, yeah.
You have 200 people.
Yeah,
that's a long time. That's a lot of downtime.
Yep.
That you're shaking people's hands. Then you have to do it again, going table to table. You know what I mean? Just skip it. Just cut it. There's no reason to do it. I just heard a podcast. This guy was saying that there's no reason to thank people for your wedding. They should be thanking you that you invited them to your wedding. It's true. I was like, there might not be something more true that I've heard ever, right? You're thanking people for coming to your wedding that you paid for their food, that you paid for this huge party for them to come to, and you have to go up and tell every single person, thank you for coming.
So much. You want to know my number one, and it just jogged my brain. So older guests are going to leave weddings early.
Always.
Guaranteed. And that's fine. But we all know the Irish exit, right? You peace out, text them, say, thanks so much, that was so much fun, had to go home, whatever. Older couples, so the couple's on the dance floor, having the time of their life. It's 9 to 11 p.m., and it's like the peak of the party. and like you get 10 older couples just coming up and like in the middle of the dance floor, interrupting their party to say like, yo, I'm gonna be rude and peace out early, but I want to come up and tell you. And I'm like, just ghost and like send a text.
I feel you.
Let the couple have a good time.
The only exception I think is like immediate family,
like grandparents or something.
They usually leave early, and I think that anytime you get a chance to see your grandparent, you should always say hello and goodbye to your grandparent, because you never know.
Life is short.
You never know.
Yeah.
So, but besides that, especially if you're like someone that you haven't talked to the couple, you know, like you're that guest that like you're not real close
like
with.
a cousin or a distant aunt or like somebody that your parents made you invite.
And you don't have to say goodbye.
No.
You know, you talk to them throughout the night.
Yep.
You don't have to go up and interrupt them.
No.
You know?
No. And it's like more about the volume of it, because like you'll see it like, I feel like one aunt will do it or grandparents will do it who should do it. And then like everybody else is like, oh, we got to do that too. We got to do that too. And it's just like the couple for the next half hour can't party, can't enjoy themselves.
Nope.
They're just saying goodbye to people that are leaving early.
Yeah, that's definitely a downside. You definitely, especially like when you have like a good party going, you know, it's such a bummer to.
Because it's all momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. Well, anything else you want to talk about?
No, it was fun. It's fun chatting.
Yeah.
Unless you have any other questions for me.
No, I just want to. Why don't you let everyone know how to get a hold of you, how to book you, things like that.
You could Google DJ Alex Nepa. You could Google Mint DJ and Event Group. But otherwise, Instagram at DJ Alex Nepa, Instagram at Mint DJ Events. Yes, thank you. I stumbled all over that too. Or our websites. But whatever way you want us to shout out and say hello, I'm always cool to respond.
Perfect. Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man.